Hello, welcome back, Matt from MrLiker.com. So this is a quick video on how you can shoot 35mm film into a medium format Mamiya 7 camera. And I'll show you not one adapter but two adapters. So stay tuned and I'll show you two ways of shooting 35mm film in your Mamiya 7 camera, which should give you a look similar to the Hasselblad Xpan. Okay, so if I pop the back of the Mamiya 7 camera, because I have one adapter already inside from my last roll of film. So let's have a look. So there we have, fresh from my last roll of film, the Mamiya 7 official adapter with the two 35mm spools at both ends and the Mamiya 7 mask. So I'll take this out and then we'll put it back together and I'll show you kind of what you need to do. So first things first, if you're changing film, you're better to close the dark slide. So let's do that first. Okay, now you can see the dark side is across and it just stops kind of any debris falling onto the back of the lens. Okay, next we need to pop the red buttons to release the spools. Number one, number two, we put those to one side. And then the mask. Let's take that out, like so. Okay, so what we have in front of us now is the standard Mamiya 7. So let's just pretend you've opened your Mamiya 7 for the first time and you've just bought yourself your Mamiya 7 35mm adapter kit. Now if I just move the camera for 1 second. Okay, so here's the Mamiya 7 adapter kit box. It's looking slightly battered, so excuse that. And then inside the box you receive number one, the film mask, which looks like so. Number two, the take-up spool, which goes onto the right-hand side of the camera. We'll see that in a second. Number three, the adapter which holds your cassette. We'll see that in a second also. And number four, the rewind mechanism, like so. So if you're buying this adapter online, make sure it has these four items in the box when you check the pictures, and then it should be good to go. Okay, so let's fit these into the camera. Okay, so firstly we'll fit the 35mm frame mask. And that just drops into the camera like so until it obviously clicks. And it should be flush, top and bottom, and on both sides. So once the frame mask is in place, next we can attach the film receiving cassette, and it goes with the cross to the top. So like so that's now in place. Then on the left hand side, looking at the back of the camera, so you need to make sure that the arrow is pointing up, and then all you do is push down, and then all you do like that is drop the film into place. So if you can see that, so the arrow is pointing up and the film lead is going into the left to right direction. This is now attached like so, and it should be secure. So we now put the film into the camera, press the button to secure, done. And then all it is a matter of moving the film from left to right. Then to actually load the film, personally I take this back out again, and there is a groove into the side of the adapter, you see. So same as on every other camera, you just put the film lead into the slot, drop it back in place, press the button, then you shut the back, close the back, and then you're ready to shoot. Now it's worth pointing out, before you close the back of the camera, check that the white dots on the base plate are turned onto the 135 setting here. That tells the camera that the length of film loaded in the camera is longer than the length of a 120 roll of film, meaning you can use the frame counter up to the full length of the 35mm film. So the white dots on the lower position. If for example you've just been shooting 120 film, the white dots will obviously be at the top, and if you've never shot 35mm film, you will have never moved this. So to move the plate, you simply twist like so. So that's how the camera should be set in a standard position for 120 film. But obviously, if we're shooting 35mm film, it needs to be here. Okay, now we can close the camera. And then you would just simply advance the film until you get to the first frame. So with the film now loaded, you may wonder, what is this? Now you need this device for when you finish your roll of film and you want to rewind the film in camera. So to do that, let's assume we've finished the roll of film. We turn the camera over. Firstly, you would pop the button, and then next you need to attach the adapter. Now with the camera in this orientation, you need to fit this screw into the tripod socket, and these little hooks on the end of the adapter, which hook under the film strap lugs. So hooking it under and then screw that down till that's tight. Okay, can you see that? So we pop the little rewind crank, and then it's just a matter of rewinding. And then you keep rewinding until it goes loose, and that means the film is rewound. You then unscrew this, and then that device is done until you shoot your next roll of film. The way it works is, it is turning this kind of coin screw. Now let's say you lost this. If you wanted to rewind your film, you could use kind of a penny or a small coin and turn it by hand. But I believe it'd take you maybe quite a large amount of time to kind of unscrew it to the full length of the film. The other way you can do it is you can just wait till it's dark and then open the back of the camera in the dark, or under, say, your duvet or in a closet. Take the film out that way, and then that way you don't need to unwind it. But that's kind of worst case scenario. So with the film rewound, we can now open the back again. Obviously I didn't rewind this fully because I'm not shooting this film today. I'll take this back out, but normally obviously the film will be back inside the cassette, then your cassette is ready to be developed. So the cost of the official Mamiya 7135 Panoramic adapter kit is roughly £325 on eBay. And as I say, with that you get potentially the box, the rewind mechanism, the film mask, the take-up spool, and the kind of holding spool. So this, with the box, seems to cost around £325 if you can find one. They're not particularly common, so you may need to have to kind of keep an eye on eBay for weeks, months to try to get one. I'll put eBay links below for you, so you check it out if you want to find kind of the latest price. But £325 was the cost of the one that I saw listed. Okay, the good news is that is option 1 of 2. And let's look at option 2. So option 2 is a cheap way to shoot 35mm film in medium format cameras. All you need is these. These are 3D printed adapters. And you buy them in pairs on eBay. Super cheap, really cheap. They are a much cheaper option. So for option 2, you need the 3D printed adapter. You need a spare 120mm take-up spool. And you need some tape. So the way the adapters work is, one end of the adapter is longer than the other. So the longer end goes into the base of your film cassette, like so. And then the short end goes onto the top. And that is your setup to go inside the camera. Case with the 3D adapters attached. You simply drop in the film, and there's the film loaded on the left hand side. Now when it comes to the right hand side, all I do personally is use a 120 take-up spool, and I'll put the film through the slot, if you can see that, and then I'll sellotape it back to itself. Now make sure the film is straight against the silver lines top and bottom. Now assuming the film is taped, you would then drop it into place, lock it up, the film would be across like so, close the back, and good to go. Now note, in this method I'm not using a film mask. For any of you that like sprocket hole photography, the advantage of not having a film mask, because obviously there is no film mask, we're putting it straight onto the bare camera. The advantage of this is you'll get the picture across the whole the film. Whereas if you use the film mask from the official kit, you won't be able to get the sprocket holes. So if you like sprocket holes, don't use the adapter. I've not noticed a huge difference in terms of image quality, whether using with mask or without mask, so it doesn't seem to have too big an effect. Okay, so that's the cheap method of loading 35mm film into a Mamiya 7 camera. Now to finish, let's show you some example images. First, using the cheap 3D printed adapter. And then we'll look at photos shot with the official Mamiya 7 35mm adapter, and you can see if there's any difference. I hope you enjoyed that quick video, and if you already have a Mamiya 7 and you like the idea of buying a Hasselblad Xpan, you now know that you can convert your Mamiya 7 into a kind of Hasselblad Xpan. Obviously what we've talked about in this video is shooting panoramic frames with your medium format camera. So you're basically getting two 35mm negatives next to each other, making one long image, which basically gives you twice as much resolution than if you just had one 35mm frame and then you chopped it top and bottom, which is what the cheap panorama cameras did. They basically made a long image by just cropping the top and bottom off a 35mm negative, but obviously that reduces your image quality roughly by half compared to if you have two full-size negatives without any cropping. Obviously, as a portrait photographer, the panoramic camera setup is not ideal for shooting models, but it is really great for travel photography. Personally, I've enjoyed using it, especially with the 50mm Mamiya 7 lens. And then I should probably point out, when it comes to composing, because you're not going to see the mask in the viewfinder, I just look at the central strip of the viewfinder and assume that is the center of the image for my 35mm crop. So if you line up the center of the image where you want your 35mm photo to be, and that's a pretty good guesstimate of kind of the final result. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you've used this setup or if you're tempted to try this setup with your existing Mamiya 7 camera. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoy film photography and film cameras, in particular rangefinder cameras. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.